mother-in-laws rejected my triplets because they think they're unnatural.
Oh, what are they? What were they made in a laboratory of some kind?
Something weird about those three.
And we're back and nothing ever happened. This is the first time we're doing this.
I've been lurking here for a while and finally decided to share my own stories about my crazy mother-in-law. I have a lot, but this one stands out the most. I'll try not to waffle on, but this might get long. My husband and I started trying to have a baby in late 2010. We struggled, and 4 years later, we hadn't any luck. We tried a lot of different things, even 2 rounds of IVF, but nothing had stuck. By the way, this comes from Share the Stories, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, in June of 2015, we decided that if we didn't have any luck by December, we would stop trying and think about other options. Deep inside, I was certain we'd get lucky and that I'd get pregnant. I was wrong.
Man, that's so rough.
Oof. However, a couple of months into 2016, I got what I thought was a stomach bug. One trip to the doctors later, and it was confirmed. I was pregnant.
Oh, you got a uterus bug instead.
Nice.
3 of them from the sounds
Little
of it.
baby bug. We were so happy and relieved. Husband cried for about 2 hours. We had always planned to wait until 12 weeks to tell anyone, but we were so excited that we immediately called our parents. They were thrilled and agreed not to tell anyone until we were ready. Given my past fertility issues, I was terrified of losing the baby, so we went and got a scan almost right away and found out I was 10 weeks along. We also found out that we were having triplets. To quote my doctor, I don't do things in halves. Immediately after getting the scan, we went to husband's parents' place to tell them about the 3 babies. We sat them down. I was shaking with excitement and told them that we were expecting 3 babies.
Wow.
And I'm sure they were overjoyed to hear this wondrous news.
Yeah, maybe they just short-circuited. That's why.
Guys, I've never seen looks of joy turn to horror so quickly. See, what I didn't know was that they believe multiple births are unnatural and often demonic in nature.
What?
Where? What religion did they get that from?
Were Cain and Abel not in the same womb? Riley, you're the resident Bible man.
Yeah.
Cain and Abel were twins, whatever?
Brothers.
Were they born at the same time?
No, that's a different set of brothers.
I just had to consult with Riley. I don't know. Either way,
Romulus and Remus.
Seems like a wild take to say that twins and triplets are
That's
demons.
more babies. That should be like, oh, babies. There's 2 of them. Yay.
Wow. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Weird.
Especially after everything they went through.
Don't even ask what kind of mental gymnastics it takes to come to this conclusion. I still don't know. Mother-in-law proceeded to explain how it clearly wasn't God's plan for us to be parents, or we would have been long ago, and how maybe someone else had a hand in this. Dude, literally Mary's sister's whole thing is that she could never have a child, and then when she's like 50, she has a kid. Because God gives her a kid. That's like religion.
My mind is being blown right now.
What?
Because Bubbles Marie said that, like, even back in the 17th century, like, the trope of the evil twin. I never thought about where that came from. And it's like, yeah, I guess it was rooted in like spiritual belief that one twin is just the evil counterpart of the other.
Strange.
Crazy.
Obviously, we couldn't say much as we were utterly shocked. She then suggested that we could forget this happened and try again.
What? What do you mean? What?
I'm sorry. So they're, let me see that. So they're religious and they think that these triplets are demonic. And so their answer to that is to terminate the children.
Yeah, they're doing triple backflips in their head.
They're like,
that's the
it's
mental
okay.
gymnastics.
You can terminate if you have triplets.
Well, because they're demons, clearly.
The demons.
They're demons brought forth by Beelzebub.
Weird.
Yeah, not right.
We left fuming and went to see my parents, who responded with joy, tears, and many congratulations. Yeah, like normal people. We tried to put mother-in-law and father-in-law out of our mind. Over the course of the pregnancy, we limited contact with them as they continued to make it clear that they were uncomfortable with the 3 babies. We were so excited and busy preparing that we barely missed them, and then we had the baby shower. I had thrown my sister all the baby showers for her kids, and she was so excited to be able to return the favor, finally, that I let her do whatever she wanted. It was beautiful, tasteful, and classy. We played some games, and everyone seemed to be getting along and enjoying themselves. And then came the gifts. Everyone had brought things in sets of 3. My favorite was from my cousin, a Thing 1, Thing 2, and Thing 3 suit.
Classic.
Cute. Mother-in-law had saved her gifts for last and was so excited for me to finally open them. She had gotten me a stroller, which I would have been super grateful for, except that we'd already ordered a custom one that worked for triplets. She then said, "The baby will love it. And look, I also got this for the baby, singular."
What are you doing?
Which baby are you picking?
Dude.
You're just going to pick the one you vibe with the most?
Yeah, and then you just sacrifice the other ones to
like,
the volcano.
I don't know. These ones aren't cool.
Have you guys seen the movie What Happened to Monday?
No.
At which point, one of my aunts asked my mother if mother-in-law knew I was having triplets. It was a little uncomfortable, but my sisters smoothed things over and we moved on. After the party, mother-in-law, my mother, and my sister stayed to help clean up. And my mother was talking about how excited she was about having 3 babies around at once when my mother-in-law turned to me and said, OP, haven't you told her? She's only keeping 1.
Wait. Sorry. The religious parents are saying she's only keeping 1.
That's
the
what I
religious
said.
parents are only saying that?
That's what I said.
I don't oh wow.
This is absurd. Like, this is like immediate, like, do you need to go to the doctor? Is your brain
What's
okay?
happening?
And if they're like, oh, I'm totally fine, then I'm like, guess who's not allowed to be around the kids because I'm afraid you're going to try to throw them away.
Okay, also, if you are reading the Bible and stuff, you want like more kids, it's like, spread your seed and multiply and stuff. Like, why are we trying to get rid? What?
That's what I'm saying.
Because they're unnatural demons.
That's what I'm freaking saying.
Show me where that is. Show me.
As you can imagine, this sparked a whole argument which ended in me punting mother-in-law out and crying into cake. Husband had a good long talk with her, and we essentially cut contact for the remainder of the pregnancy.
Dude, I didn't know OP knew Keon.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
OP cried into Keon's butt cheeks. Sorry, I had to say that out loud.
So the big day finally arrived, and I gave birth to 3 small but amazingly beautiful babies through cesarean after some complications. I was absolutely exhausted, so we decided that we would wait until I was better to contact my families. It was about 1 a.m. when it was all over, so we figured it wouldn't matter that much if we waited until the morning. Plus, rest and bonding time were important. The babies had to spend some time in the NICU due to their size, but we were able to pick them up for short periods of time. So the next day, around lunchtime, we called our families to tell them that our little miracles were here. My mother and sister came up right away and were absolutely besotted. Mother-in-law and father-in-law came in about an hour later, and my mother immediately offered the baby she was holding to mother-in-law. Why? Why would you do that?
Stop.
She's going to run away with that baby.
She's going to, like, smell each of them and be like, that's the good one. The other 2 are rotten.
The other ones smell off. Which one was born first? Mother-in-law asked before taking the baby. I told her the boy that my sister was holding. Why are we...
The boy. It was the boy. Why are we entertaining her? Why is she here? She's made it clear that she doesn't even think that your kids should exist.
Like, let's do some critical thinking here. I'll hold him then. I was confused, but offered the girl.
No.
2 boys, 1 girl.
No.
I was holding to father-in-law. He declined, saying he would wait for mother-in-law to finish. Now, you've probably clicked into what was happening. I didn't. Husband and I were so caught up in our babies that we didn't notice at first that they were blatantly ignoring the 2nd and 3rd born babies. We actually didn't catch on to this until they returned a couple of days later with a "it's a boy" balloon. Needless to say, this didn't fly with us. We had gone through too much for 2 of our babies to not count. We immediately put our foot down and said that if they wanted to see the babies, they would have to acknowledge that there were 3 of them. To this day, there is some favoritism, but they do love all 3. Oh.
Dude, honestly, I don't know.
I don't buy that.
Yeah, that sounds suspicious. And if I'm OP's husband, I'm being like, hey, do I have secret like siblings that I don't know
Yeah,
about
did you
that you
just get
gave
rid
away
of
because we were
kids?
twins?
I wouldn't trust these grandparents around
No.
your children.
Yeah,
No.
absolutely not.
I'm like arm's length,
stay far away.
low contact.
I'm actually pretty shocked that you just like your mom and you just immediately were like, yeah, here, hold the babies.
I
It's
mean,
like they made it really clear that they wanted you to give up 2 of your babies.
oh God. Maybe they were just like, that can't be real. Like, I gotta imagine if that was happening to me, I'd be like, I mean,
They're
'cause
joking.
that's so absurd. I
joshing
can't take
me.
that seriously, right? Crazy.
But there is an update. Nicole H says these bad decisions are made out of the high on life because 3 precious babies, they are not thinking clearly. Oh yeah, I think that totally like OP
Brain
and her
tumor?
husband were, OP just gave birth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emotions going on. I'm just kind of surprised that like the mother-in-law was allowed to, invited into the room.
I mean, you gotta assume where it's like, all right, well, once she sees the kids, she's gonna let go of this whole weird delusion that there's only one, right?
Well,
I don't know. Insane behavior.
Deirdre Satham says, no, they don't. They're showing favoritism. Yeah, OP was like, yeah, there's favoritism, but
Yeah.
no, they love all 3. There's favoritism.
Mm-mm.
But there is an update. After reading through all the comments on my previous posts, it got me worried about the in-laws having any contact with the kids. It certainly wouldn't be unlike them to hide the crazy only to spring it out all at once. They're not even hiding the crazy. It's 4 a.m. at the moment. What sleep? So I'll be having a talk with husband about it all tomorrow. The only reason we're still in contact with them is because I think husband is desensitized to their crazy / used to blocking it out. And we've been so hyped on baby love that we haven't really thought about how their behavior could affect us at all. But there is an update. Oh, it says, I also want to thank the Star Wars Trek for the nickname for my mother-in-law, the Kurgan.
The Kurgan. I don't watch enough Star Trek to know what that is.
Yeah, I
but
don't know
like
what that. I don't know the joke, but it's funny. There is an update. The Kurgan, the naming.
The Kurgan.
Deirdre Statham says, when did they hide the crazy? That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. It's
That's
like
what I'm saying.
That's why it's like husband needs to be like way more aggressive about this.
man.
He's so passive.
He's like, my parents, they're always getting rid of kids.
It's like, dude, they're gonna like lose one on purpose at this
they're
rate.
Like,
Like,
oh no,
this is absurd.
I don't know where the other 2 went,
Yeah,
but this one's here.
yeah.
That's why those were just spares.
And they'll be like, it must be a sign from
Yeah.
God that you were just meant to have this one.
Look at that. But there is a second update. While dear husband is at work before we can have a proper talk about the in-law situation, and while all 3 kids are happily having floor time or communicating with Satan, who knows, I thought I'd write up about the naming. Oh yeah, what are your babies' names? Did you name them
Satan
Bob,
1, 2, and
Job, and Knob?
You should have named them all Horatio.
Oh, I was gonna say you could do like Lucy for Lucifer, Cypher,
Well, then you're really asking for the crazy to come out of the in-laws.
In husband's family, it's tradition for babies to be christened. My family, while also being religious, think that the kids should wait until 12 to be baptized so it can be their choice. Instead, we have what we call the name day, where we gather all the extended family and friends and formally announce the baby's name and welcome them to family. Dear husband and I talked it over and decided that we wanted to go with a name day for our little ones. Now, since it's tradition in our family to keep the name secret until name day, something I find weird, but whatever. But since our babies were preemie, so we're in hospital for longer than most, we had been nicknaming them. No one actually knew their full first names, though a few guessed from the nicknames. So name day rolls around. Everyone's gathered and we introduce our 3 babies. Everyone is excited and in love with the names. The younger 2 are quite traditional names along the lines of James and Mary, whereas our eldest is named Dante. You
For Dante's Inferno.
You literally did what you basically took my suggestion. Somehow, mother-in-law and father-in-law had never heard of Dante's Inferno, so they were saying how it was such a regal name, perfect for our firstborn. The next day, we got a panic call from my mother-in-law. She had been researching what Dante's name means to make a little
I'm gonna say
I'm sure it meant plaque,
yeah.
but I do think it's funny that it says plague for
A
him.
little plague.
And discovered Dante's work. That's so funny. She just stumbled upon Dante's work. She's
Come
like,
on, y'all.
"What is this? Dante's Inferno?" And then she starts reading Botticelli.
Well, imagine she finds
No,
the
wait.
one where it's called
That's
the
not
Divine
Botticelli.
Comedy instead,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's just
Divine
like,
Comedy.
oh, he must be funny. And what's going on here?
What's the one I'm thinking of? Not Botticelli. He's an artist, isn't he? The other guy
Monticelli.
who's writing at the same time as Dante.
Oh, I don't know.
Friend.
No, it's fine.
Gosh,
He wrote a bunch
Celli.
of. Basically, it was during the plague, and he wrote about this like bunch of 20-year-olds who go out into the countryside and start telling stories. I had to do a whole class about this.
And clearly it didn't stick.
Nope. Starts with a B though. But of course we can't have known, but we have to change the name right away. Husband and I explained that yes, we knew about Dante's Circles of Hell, and yes, that's where the inspiration came from, and no, we weren't changing it. Mother-in-law cried and we hung up. She called back later and suggested changing the Decameron. Is what the book,
What?
The Decameron is the book that I was thinking of. I still
Nice.
can't remember the name of the
Yeah,
author.
I would have done the exact same thing as soon as I remembered what it was.
She called back later and suggested changing it to Gabriel. We hung up. She brought it up once more, and husband said if she mentioned it again, we would change all three's name to Lucifer. Yes.
Nice. But on a real level, name your kid Constantine.
Ooh, no, this is what you do. Lucy, Constantine, Dante.
I thought it was one girl and two boys. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. And then Lucy and Constantine will bicker all the time.
Yeah. It hasn't been mentioned by her again, but we do get so many people saying how much they love the name. I ran into an old English teacher from high school, and he went on and on about how it was such a fantastic name. And did we know list of facts about the book? He ended up getting a copy of the book for his son and sending it to my mom. That's so sweet. It sits among the Mr. Men and Dr. Seuss books. Mr. Men?
Huh?
What is that?
Mr. Men?
Mr. Men books? I've never heard of that.
I'm looking that up
Wait,
immediately.
I got you.
Also, I looked up the Kurgan, and I can't believe I forgot what this was. It's from the Highlander, which I don't know if anyone here knows what that is, but it's played by Sean Connery.
Oh.
And the Kurgan is an immortal. He chases down all the other immortals from Highlander. And
Interesting.
That's why, you gotta do it.
Oh.
Yeah, shout out the Kurgan.
But there is an update. You're browsing as a guest. What
Whoa.
are we looking at right now?
Wait, no.
What does that say? Oh,
Did that
Mr.
say
Men.
Mr. Meaty?
Mr. Meaty? Mr. Tickle.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And everyone's
Okay.
saying Boccaccio. Thank you.
Oh,
That
that's my
is his
favorite
name.
kind of bread. I love that. So tasty.
Update 3. So I sat down with husband last week and showed him the posts and everyone's comments. At first, he was upset and defensive about it all, but after he had some time to calm down and think it over, he agreed that it would be best to address the favoritism issues now rather than later. Yeah, obviously. They're going to be like 15, and he's going to come to them and he's like, now I'm sure you've noticed that your grandparents like Dante the best.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just straight up, they'll notice it before anyone, probably.
Exactly, which
you
is
know?
why you should address it with
Yeah.
your parents now, so that they don't do that.
Bro, or
Kick them out.
work the system.
Oh,
Yo, Dante.
elaborate.
Me and other sibling. Yo, Dante. And then Dante comes forward. Yeah, I know about our grandparents. I know I'm the favorite. And and Dante's like, it's messed up, but I think we can use this to our advantage. And the other two are like, what? He's like, what if I split this between us? I every time they come around, I lather them up. I put it on big. And then whenever they give me stuff, I give it to you guys because that's not fair.
I like that. I like a
Interesting.
team effort.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
so scam the grandparents.
And so let's say we're all three triplets, okay?
yeah,
I would
we're
come
all
to them.
pooch
I'm
triplets.
Dante. I'd
And
come
these
to
are
them
gonna
and be
be
like,
Gen Alpha?
I
You're
love
gonna be
improv.
Dante.
I'm Dante. I love improv. I love doing improv theater stuff. Okay, come watch my show. Come watch my show. I look just like my other twin. Boom. They watch you. I absolutely love, I want a new car. Can I get a new car? Boom. They get me a brand new car.
And then we all share it.
Will they?
Well, you and I already have cars, but this guy's car has
Oh,
been
I
not good
see.
for a while. So
Okay.
I get a car for my other twin.
I think
And
you're
I'm like, what do
overestimating
we
how
need?
much they like you.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, They like me a lot. I'm their favorite.
I don't know. Now that your name's Dante, they might switch up and be like, "You're the demon.
We'll see.
You're the demon."
Yesterday, Saturday, we dropped the babies at my parents' house and went over to talk to mother-in-law and father-in-law. We sat them down and essentially explained that we were worried there would be negative effects on the kids since they openly favored the firstborn. Guys, you were right. They flipped their crap. Father-in-law exploded first, asking us how we could honestly expect them to love something so unnatural.
It's quite literally
That's a
natural.
baby. That's a baby.
Bro, father-in-law, do I have to explain genetic alleles to you, my
Dude,
guy?
because I thought the
What are we
story,
doing?
really quick pause, I thought the story was going to be that they got IVF, and that's
Yeah.
why they were like, oh, this is unnatural. But
I
no,
did
that's
too.
just like, this is just plain
Dude.
old birth.
They're miracle babies.
This
they
is
had
just
3.
regular
They were like,
old birth.
we might never have kids. Now we have 3.
Yeah.
And instead of being like, this is the best, they're like, well, you know you have 2 demons, right?
Yeah, did you know that?
Crazy.
I bet the
Were
husband's
you
like,
aware?
yeah, it's unnatural how I put that dude on her.
Dude, what?
That's why she got 3 kids.
That's what OP's husband said to his parents.
That's what he's thinking. He's like, yeah, dude, that is pretty unnatural. Now
Honestly,
that you think
at this
about it.
point, that's what you should start saying. You should start trying to just make your parents uncomfortable, OP's husband. Like, because I would not entertain this. They're cut off already for me.
Yeah. Mother-in-law then jumped in saying that we had made the choice to keep the things and had to suffer the consequences. She's like, just you wait.
Oh my
You've
God.
birthed the Antichrist. The day of reckoning is upon us. Run for your lives. Obviously, this went down well with us. / sarcasm. Husband lost his crap too and told them that they were crazy and would never see him or the babies again.
Thank
Finally,
the Lord.
Finally. He took me by the arm and led me out, telling them never to contact him again. We got in the car and drove to a park a few blocks away. Husband was really agitated, so I let him have a few minutes to cool off while I stayed in the car and tried to take deep breaths. While I was waiting, I called my parents and let them know that in-laws might try to contact them, but they weren't to let them near the kids. When husband had calmed down, he got back in the car and we started making a safety plan. Since the kids are only ever in our care or my parents' care, which is pretty rare, we didn't need to alert anyone about it yet. We decided the best thing to do would be to install security cameras, change the locks, in-laws have a spare key, oh, yikes, and hasten our plan to move. We've been wanting to for a while, but with new triplets, it's been a little tricky. We then went and picked up the babies and went home. Husband has a friend who is a locksmith, so we called, gave him a brief rundown, and asked if it would be possible to change the locks this weekend. His friend said yes, but it would have to wait until Sunday. No problem, that's great, etc. We had just started looking into security measures when we got a knock on the door. Guess who? Yep, mother-in-law, but not alone. No, she'd brought her priest to visit the babies.
What?
If this priest doesn't come in here and be like, these are normal babies.
Yeah.
These are regular old babies.
Yep, I'm gonna go to wherever he goes, to wherever he works, and being like, guys, sure you want to be giving your time to this guy?
I'm
Are you sure about this?
I'm sure he's gonna be like, yeah, the kids are fine. What are you
These
doing?
these are just babies.
I'm
praying.
Please.
The priest seemed quite uncomfortable at being dragged into the family drama,
Yes.
but he said that mother-in-law was concerned about demonic activity around the younger 2 babies. We told him the children were fine, then told mother-in-law that if she didn't leave, we would be calling the police. She then proceeded to call the police herself, claiming that we were abusive and cruel and needed to have the babies taken away. The police took over an hour to arrive. We had closed the door and gone about our business. And when they did, mother-in-law was howling about how we were such awful people.
Oh my God.
The priest told the police what had actually gone down.
The priest is still there?
Yeah, he's been here for an hour. He's like,
Yeah, she's hired me for like 3 hours. So
Yeah,
Dude, this is like a sitcom. This is wild.
we told them the same, and they told mother-in-law to leave.
let's go. Okay,
Okay.
honestly,
At least
priest.
the priest is
W
like,
priest.
yeah, I don't know. She told me that her grandkids were,
Yep.
demons, so I came to check it out, and
Yeah,
they're just
yeah.
babies.
Next thing the priest has to do Just talk to them and be like, yo, if you guys still want to be members of this church, you can't be accusing babies of having demons in them.
He's
We gotta
like,
stop.
I was called for an exorcism, but I think that the person who called me needs an exorcism.
First off, you know how disappointed I am? Second off, you're crazy, girl.
You're
Come on.
crazy.
Honestly, for a fake call like that,
Dude.
I don't know. Put
Yeah,
her in a
imagine you're
holding
a
cell,
priest,
dude. Put her in a
just-
tank.
Yeah. But imagine you're a priest waiting for an exorcism and you go and you have to like,
You
oh, you
finally
had
think
triplets?
it's your
Congrats. Wait,
time.
what? I'd be so mad. I'd be so pissed.
Like, wasting my time.
Yeah.
One of the female officers said she would put the incident on file and told us to contact her if anything else happened, which I thought was fantastic. Husband has obviously been really upset by everything that happened. He cried a lot last night, but woke up this morning really determined to fix things. The locks have been changed, security cameras are set up with audio at the front door, and there has been no further contact from mother-in-law or father-in-law. I'm so glad that I posted here, and I sincerely thank everybody for their advice. I shudder to think what could have happened had we kept on the way we were going. Any further advice would be most welcome. And there is a fourth update.
Lordy,
Dude.
lordy.
Dude, movie pitch. It's about 3 demon babies. The mother-in-law is like trying to save everyone from these 3 demon babies. She knows there's a demon, and everyone's like, you're crazy. You're crazy, mother-in-law.
But she's not.
But she's right. There were demons in the babies the whole time.
I like the flip side of that, where it's like a dark comedy where it's just like about messed up family dynamics, and these people have triplets, and their mom is just going insane over it.
So
And
you
then
like
somebody,
what
it
this
was
story
Persa.
is.
Persa said they should say that I lied and the boy wasn't the first one, and then they'll be like, now you don't know who your chosen baby is. It's like, that would be great.
You do it. You put them all under coconut shells. You switch them up, and you're like, choose. Update 4. On top of everything happening, the triplets have chosen now as their time to get their first cold.
Oh.
Dang. Doctor has been and confirmed that it's nothing too serious, but 3 cranky babies are hard work. Or maybe they don't have the cold. They have a demon in them. Do we think about that?
Do we think about that?
I wanted to address some reoccurring questions/comments. First thing is the priest. A lot of you were right that he came along with mother-in-law not because he believed there was actually demonic activity, but because he was worried that there was something else going on. He reached out to us today and said that if we need help, support, he can help us find groups, therapists, etc. Nice priest. He also suggested that we keep our distance from mother-in-law as she seemed to have severe delusions. He also put us in contact with a lawyer who is willing to do some free work for us if needed.
Nice.
W priest?
Yeah, good priest. I would say get like an official restraining order or something like as fast as possible.
I mean, you have the word of the priest. You also have the police officers who have filed a report. So I definitely think that you could get this restraining
You have
order.
the laws of man and
the law
God
is
on
on
your side.
That's true. We also asked him about the multiple births being a natural thing, and he confirmed that it definitely isn't in the Catholic doctrine. Yeah, no doy. Did we look that up? What religion or practice is that from?
I think it's just like a really antiquated sentiment.
Yeah, but like from where?
I think
Is it just like all cultures have some
17th
sort
century
of
Europe is what
thought
I
about
think
that?
Bubbles Marie made a comment earlier.
I mean, they did
Secondly,
think that left-handed people.
that is
were-
true. Actually, one of my friends' fathers was born left-handed and he was raised in like a really religious background, and they broke his hand, so that he wouldn't use it, and so he had to learn how to. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Oh
was
my
and that was like
God.
a super common practice
Man,
until like the
rel-
50s or like until like somewhat recently.
Religion will make people do the dumbest
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Really
that
quick
crazy?
story about the introduction of cutlery, like forks and knives and spoons, to Europe.
Yeah.
Before they were introduced there, people just ate with their hands, and of course, people would
Yeah.
get sick from it. And then it got brought over from like a princess from like the Middle East or something, or from like Persia came over, and all the church people were like, "This is an affront to God. This is blasphemy." And it's like, why would you use these tools when we were given God's perfect tools to eat with? It's demonic.
Yeah, which is funny how it has now come back around, and people are like, "Oh, not using your cutleries."
What?
People nowadays are like,
They are?
Yeah, in Western culture, I feel like it's like
you eat with your hands?
what?
What?
No, I'm saying that people in a lot of Western
Oh,
cultures are
oh,
like, you must
got
use
you.
your cutlery.
I thought you were saying bare hand eating was coming back. I was like, I am not tapped into that.
Oh well, I mean, in many cultures it is.
Well, I know, and like,
Anyway.
I was just confused.
Secondly, CPS, we got in contact with a friend of ours who works in the local branch and gave her a rundown. Her exact words were, "I effing told you she was nuts." She organized to have a social worker drop by this week to do a health assessment and had gotten us booked in to see a psychologist in a few weeks. We've started looking for another house. Because of dear husband's job, we can't leave the town, but we are looking at houses on the other side of town from in-laws. We've also been looking into more security measures. We're in Australia, so we don't have Walmart here. As far as I know, certainly not in our town, but we're looking at finding window sensors. We have also contacted close friends and family and let them know what's going on. My parents are absolutely horrified, and my best friend has offered to stake out our lawn dressed as Satan.
Wow.
That's funny.
That's a good deterrent.
Good friend. I think that's most of the thing, but my brain is a little fried at the moment. And there is a fifth update, but did we find out about where this comes from?
The 3 baby thing?
Yeah. Or no, just
not a
like
thing.
twins, triplets.
Not a thing.
Well, it has to
Well,
be
no,
because
it's
the
gotta
evil
be.
twin trope does exist.
Where does it, like, look up, like, where,
Yeah, I got it.
what,
I'm gonna look up 17th century.
when did that happen?
evil
When
twin
did they
trope.
think that twins and triplets were demonic? The lawyer princess says, I do see sometimes the fork compared to the devil's pitchfork. Like, what? Interesting.
Yeah, nothing. They're not. They can't. They're not pulling it up. They're like, "What are you talking about?"
See, this is what
Gothic
sucks.
literature and horror.
No, I looked it up
evil
online
twin
and on
trope.
chat, and it didn't work on either one.
Interesting. And what did you find?
This is an AI description. The evil twin trope, a character who is an evil counterpart to a protagonist, stems from the doppelganger or shadow self motif, often seen in Gothic literature and horror, where twins represent subjective dichotomies and externalize moral or religious struggles. So it's probably just like, some old ass literature.
Interesting. Maybe Cheese says evil twin was a thing in Nigeria, in Cross River. Olden days.
Yeah,
I'm going to do
way
research
back.
on this in my own time because I'm interested. But there is a fifth update.
Goodness
And what
gracious.
the hell is, oh my God, they're from here. And I'm assuming you're from Australia. But let's get into this. It's been at least 6 months since my last post. I can't believe how fast it's all gone. And so much has happened. Warning, this will probably be a long post. First, the babies are doing amazing. They're getting so big, starting to walk and saying a few words. So far, we're managing pretty well with them and are absolutely so happy. Second, after months of lawyers, courts, and stress, we finally have a no contact order on mother-in-law. She isn't allowed anywhere near us and isn't allowed to contact us or have third parties contact us. This is a big win and was fought very hard for. She pulled out every trick in the book to fight us. I can't remember the exact dates of all of this, so I apologize if it's all a bit vague. After she brought the priest to visit, that basically punted everything off. We got CPS to conduct a visit and health check, and they gave us the all clear. Mother-in-law then began reporting to them daily, if not multiple times a day, pretending to be neighbors and friends, complaining of hearing us screaming at the children, and the children being bruised and malnourished. More welfare checks. Can't see anything wrong.
So this is when the police need to get involved, or you need to
This is
proactively
harassment charges.
tell the police that she's making false claims and allegations, and she can actually go to jail for that.
Exactly. She would call the police and say that we left the babies alone outside in the car. And these are false claims.
Yeah.
The police ended up charging her with supplying false information.
Let's go.
Finally.
Let's go.
She started sending FM to visit us. Is that the father?
I don't know.
She started
what
sending
FM is.
Friar man.
She started sending FM to visit us, 2 of her sisters in particular. Who's to say? They would basically come over, coo over the babies, and leave. At first, we thought there was no harm in it. Then CPS came again and said they'd complained that our house was filthy and the babies were being left in dirty nappies all day. Now, the house wasn't at its tidiest, I'll admit. I was a bit behind on the laundry and dishes, but it was definitely not as bad as they made it out to be. Next time they came over, we told them that we didn't want them visiting for a while. They called the police, and the lady officer from my first or second post came over and basically told them to bugger off and leave us alone. Oh my God. You can't catch a break. This is so frustrating. You're trying to take care of three babies. One baby is hard. 3 babies? And people keep freaking filing reports on you?
This is when, like, no, I don't want to advocate for that. In Seattle, y'all could legally fight about this, but I don't think y'all live in Seattle.
They live in Australia.
Yeah, so
just file a restraining order.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like at some point it needs to be like the police are like, we're not going to respond to calls to this house about child endangerment because it's absurd and clearly there is a targeted attack against these people.
Yeah, but I guess they have to respond to all calls.
I mean, probably on principle.
But, you know. A few months after this all started, we got approved for another house. Unfortunately, due to husband's work, leaving town isn't an option. But we didn't tell anyone our new address except for my parents, my best friend, and husband's best friend. It was so peaceful and calm for a while that I was beginning to relax and let my guard down. No! One day, husband and his friend had gone out, and my best friend and I were at home, chatting and doing some sewing together. The doorbell rang, and as I had a mouthful of pins and my hands full of fabric, my best friend went to get it. I heard her open it, and then aloud, "What the F?" Guess who? Right. Mother-in-law. She was there with an armful of presents for the babies and a big grin on her face. I came over the door and told her to leave. She was pouting and asking if I hadn't put all that behind me. She pointed out that it wasn't very Christian of me not to forgive, to which my friend responded that it wasn't very Christian of her to be a raging witch. Mother-in-law obviously did not like that. I again told her to leave and said I would call the police. Best friend said, "On it," and dialed the cops. Mother-in-law then burst into fake tears and started begging for forgiveness, saying it was cruel to keep the little angels from her.
Oh, now they're all little angels?
Now they're all little angels.
Interesting.
Very funny.
You think after all those fake reports that now I'm going to let you back?
Dude, you thought they were demons.
You're crazy.
I swear you could hear the eye rolling from myself and my best friend. Cops arrived and listened to both sides of the story and told her to move along. One of the cops told me I should be kinder to her, which made me pretty mad, but I just brushed it off.
Yeah, whatever.
I'd be like, okay, you do that then.
It's like that's like the same energy as like a cop telling you to be nice to your stalker.
Yeah.
It's like maybe he'll leave you alone if you're just nicer to him.
Maybe if you're just give him a little compliment.
Yeah.
When husband got home, I told him, and he called our lawyer and basically told him that we don't want her anywhere near us. That set everything into motion, and the court dates started. We basically had to prove that she was an actual danger to our children, but she played the concerned grandparent and turned on the crocodile tears spectacularly.
Do you think we have enough evidence to prove that she's dangerous for the kids?
I think you have evidence of derangement with all these fake child endangerment claims.
I'm just trying to figure out what this, what do they have? One, do they have a restraining order? And if they do, why is it so useless?
It doesn't sound like they have one.
I don't
get a
think
restraining order.
There's no way she could just show up on the front porch with gifts if they had a restraining order.
Literally get a restraining order.
And the cops would be like, well, you should just be nicer to her.
Get a restraining order.
Yeah. The time is way gone. You should have had one already.
Yeah. Harriet Spaghetti says, that's when you say calling the cops is the kinder option compared to what I really want to do, so you need to get her out of here.
Facts.
As we didn't have sufficient evidence to keep her away from us, the judge basically turned the case out. Our lawyer thinks that the judge may have been biased, but we couldn't do anything else other than try to gather more evidence and appeal. Sorry if I'm being super vague. The details are exhausting and would take months to write out.
So the judge didn't do anything?
No, the judge was like, I don't think we have enough evidence here.
What? That's crazy. She literally made all these fake claims trying to get your kids taken away from you and then enlisted family members to do it for her when hers weren't working.
Oh, family members.
So that's like she's conspiring to have the children taken away by the state.
And they're like, I don't know. There's just not any evidence. Maybe you should be nicer to her.
Judge is like, how nice have you been, though? Yeah. Have you given her any compliments today?
Have you given her any gifts? She shows up to your house with gifts, and you don't give her any gifts back? Seems a little rude.
Not very Christian of you.
We talked about moving again, but really didn't have the money to do so. So best friend told us to stay at her place, and she'd stay at ours. Ooh, little house swap. Yeah. Are you gonna fall in love with Jack Black and Jude Law? At least for a little while, so we'd feel safe and comfortable. Have I said how great she is? Because she's great. So we did a house swap, and a few days later, she sends me a video of her opening the door and mother-in-law there. Mother-in-law openly recoiled and started shouting things like, "Good Lord, my heart," and runs off.
She said, "Oh, be still my
Oh,
heart."
good Lord.
What? Just because your friend opened the door?
Yeah.
Like, oh!
Eh.
It's crazy.
It's like a blinding light. Oh, good heavens. Best friend answered the door, stark unclothed. Oh, that's why. Mother-in-law didn't return for about a week and a half after that. When she did, she demanded to know where we were, and best friend pretended she didn't know who mother-in-law was talking about.
Let's go.
She's like, I've never heard of people by those names around here.
It's like the episode of The
Oh my
Office where Jim gets replaced.
No, yeah. No. This is what the friend does. She opens the door and she says, "OP and her husband, they've been dead for 70 years. Gaslighter. Mother-in-law started staking out the house, but after a few days must have realized we wouldn't be around and stopped. We reported each instance to the police, adding to our file. A few weeks after this, husband had a work dinner where he was getting an award, a pretty big deal. So his best friend and mine volunteered to watch The Three Musketeers. We let them stay at our house where best friend was staying, as mother-in-law hadn't been around and we thought it would be fine. Wrong. It would have been around 9:30. The kiddos were asleep and our two friends were watching a movie together when they heard something weird in the back room. They went to investigate and found one of the windows open. This was mid-late winter, so it had definitely been closed.
Dude, see, now, so after she kidnaps the babies,
Yeah, they're
then
like,
the courts will be like, "Oh, I guess we can give you the restraining order now."
I guess there's evidence.
Crazy.
They immediately went to the baby's room, which was actually the spare room. Then my friend stayed there while husband's friend went to search the house. Friend called the cops while he went searching. About 5 minutes later, she heard a whole F from upstairs.
Probably holy.
A holy F from upstairs and ran up to see what was happening. I'm shaking as I type this. I still can't believe it. Mother-in-law was in the old nursery upstairs. She had 2 baby carriers with her. The 2 boyfriends kept her in the room until the police came and she was arrested.
Nice.
We got home shortly after and I was in near hysterics after finding out what happened. Mother-in-law was charged with breaking and entering and attempted kidnapping. She'll probably do jail time, but unfortunately the courts here move really slowly, so she hasn't even been sentenced yet. Oh my goodness. Get this woman off the streets.
Come on, Australia. Do
Come
better.
on.
Have a better legal system. What is that?
Her court date is coming up soon. After this, we obviously took the case back to court, and this time the judge could hardly deny that she was a danger to the children, so our request was granted. She was released on bail, but under strict instructions to go nowhere near us and not to contact any third parties about us. Apparently, she thought she had a loophole, and she sent father-in-law around. This would have been around Christmas time.
This stupid woman doesn't know what a third party is.
She's like, "Oh, you thought you could keep me and all third parties away? Well, I'm going to send a third party."
She's like the lawyer from Arrested Development, but it's like the husband and wife can't be tried for the same crime.
Brilliant. He basically tried to guilt husband into letting him into the house, pulling the whole, "It's Christmas. Can't you forgive your old man?" Crap. Dear husband told him to bugger off and leave us alone. Katara Rain says, this story is way funnier when you remember they're Australian. If I could do a consistent Australian accent, I would have been doing it the whole time.
You're so right, though. It does become immediately funnier.
We switched houses back and things have actually started to settle down again. Our 2 best friends are now very good friends. We're thinking maybe more. Oh my God, did you set them up in a really weird way?
You're going to get even more babies out of this situation.
That's so funny. If imagine you're talking to someone, you're like, "Oh, how did you 2 meet?" And they're like, "Oh, well, our 2 friends were being stalked by their mother. So we decided to take their house for a little while and we just started, getting really close. And then she showed up and harassed us.
She broke in through the window and we
Yeah.
helped get her arrested by keeping her in the
Yeah.
room where she was going to steal the babies.
Classic story.
Babies.
Rom-com.
God, that story is so funny in Australia.
and have been absolutely amazing. We had them both over for dinner to say thank you, and they were definitely vibing.
Dude, they have shared experience.
Yeah, shared trauma. Damon Bybase. I'm sorry again if this is incoherent. Everything seems like a blur now. Sometimes I wonder if maybe it wasn't all some kind of weird dream. Anyway, that's where we're at the moment. I'm hoping mother-in-law's trial will get bumped up and that she won't be able to get out of doing time. Our court here is more than a little biased, unfortunately, but we'll see. Biased towards what?
Yeah, biased
mother-in-laws?
towards lunatics.
I think mother-in-law and the judge go to the same church. I think
but
that.
the priest seems like chill.
Who knows? Who knows what this mother-in-law did for the judge?
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm going to try to relax and enjoy the time with the little ones while they are little. They seem to grow every day and are so precious. I can't believe how lucky I am to have them. Update 6. But do you have any thoughts? Because this story is crazy.
I mean, my only thought is, put him in jail already. What are we doing?
Yeah, get him out of there.
Jail.
Bye.
Straight to jail.
Straight to jail. Update 6. Guys, I can't believe how long it's been since I last wrote and how much has happened. I don't even know where to begin. Firstly, I want to thank everyone who checked in on me, and I'm sorry I didn't reply to everyone individually. I'll try to reply to any comments or questions on this thread. So, mother-in-law. She ended up getting not much more than a slap on the wrist.
That's insane.
How? She broke into your house and tried to steal your babies. She got a community corrections order similar to probation, I guess. We were hoping for jail time, but no such luck. We ended up having to go to court to testify, which was draining, with the result not worth it. After that, however, things settled down. Husband's best friend and my best friend did start dating.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wee.
More babies.
Yeah.
Also, how fun. Like, your best friend and his best friend. It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Your best friend and my
Now
best
you can always hang out with your best friend all the time.
Yeah.
Go double dates with your best friend.
I'll try and find a good best friend.
Oh,
for you,
but what if
Sophia.
they get in a fight?
Better.
They get in a spat, and then y'all get in a spat because of their spat.
Double
you
spat.
take each other's. Yeah, you take.
Tricky.
Might
tricky,
multiply.
tricky.
Yeah.
They're still together and pretty happy. It's great, and they're officially and legally the ones who would take the triplets should anything happen to husband and me. They're so supportive and have been there through all this. I can't thank them enough. Unfortunately, the CCO wasn't enough to deter mother-in-law. She got it into her head that she wasn't winning us against us because Satan had our backs. Maybe he does. Who knows? For about 3 months, we heard nothing. She didn't come near us. We checked the security footage. There were no flying monkeys, no father-in-law. Everything was perfect. Too perfect.
A little too quiet.
Then, about 5 months ago, I got a call from one of husband's aunts. She wanted to know what had happened to the babies. What do you mean, what happened to the babies?
Yeah, that they didn't get kidnapped.
She's like, hey, the baby's still there? Doing baby things? Obviously, I was really confused. The conversation went a bit like this. Hello?
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 OP?
Hello?
RP?
IP? Aunt, how are you?
You gotta switch us so you can.
Okay, guys, I just want you to know it's going to sound terrible.
Yeah, it's
'cause
gonna be bad.
I have never claimed to be able to do a good accent. Hello?
Hello?
No, I'm the first one. Hello?
Hello? OP?
Aunt, how are you?
I'm fine, darling. I'm so sorry to hear your news.
I'm new.
The babies. God, I can't believe it. After everything you went through.
I'm not quite sure.
It's all in the back. It's in the back of the mouth.
Dude, when we were in Colombia, I locked in a really good accent and an Australian accent. No,
Back of the mouth.
Wait, hold on. Rise of lights.
Back.
I'm not.
Yeah,
sure.
you were too forward with the knives.
Not as hard. I'm not quite.
Not.
Rise of lights. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite. No, it's still a little British. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure.
Back.
It's getting there.
All right.
That's you.
I would have never believed it, but then I saw the graves. Oh, darling, is there anything I can do?
I don't know what you. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're. I
Just lock in.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh no. Little second, little third. Mother-in-law told me about how they passed away.
What?
Oh.
This is a crazy conversation, by the way.
What? Bick? Go back.
Oh, wait, that's the end. I quickly
right.
cleared it all up, promised my children were not passed away, and asked her where the graves were that she had seen. Apparently, there are 2 little memorial stones in mother-in-law and father-in-law's backyard, engraved with my youngest 2 names.
This is deranged. That's absurd.
I want to see the picture, and I bet you $10. It's AI. It's AI. Actually, no, it's not AI.
No, dude. It's
I
probably.
don't think they know how to do that.
They probably had these custom ordered and put in their backyard because they are sick, twisted individuals. Oh, my Lord.
If that isn't messed up, I don't know what is. I immediately called husband and told him what aunt had told me. He didn't quite believe her, saying that she's probably lying, but said he would swing by and see if he could see them. I pointed out that that wouldn't be a good idea since we're trying to prove that we want nothing to do with them. In the end, we decided that it wasn't worth it to try and prove anything by seeing if aunt was lying or not. It still bothered both of us, but as far as we could tell, there's not a lot we could do about it. A couple of weeks later, the 2 boyfriends, keep saying boyfriends, the 2 best friends were over. You should be saying BFFs.
Maybe
BF is for boyfriend.
Maybe they don't think it's going to be forever, though.
The friendship?
BFFN, best friend for now.
Ooh. A couple of weeks later, the 2 best friends were over, playing with the kids and giving me a chance to hang some washing out. It was a warmish day, so we were all out in the backyard together. We had recounted the story to them, and they both agreed that if it isn't true, that's messed up. My best friend was pretty ready to pull out a Mission Impossible suit and get over there in the night. But we all agreed it's not worth it.
I don't know, dude. I think it is worth it.
Maybe it's
I
worth it.
disagree. I don't think you should let the sick, deranged people have a delusion that your children are buried in their backyard.
That would be
absurd.
Something needs doing.
Call the police about that.
Please. She did bring up a good point that we'll have to be extra vigilant about making sure the kids understand that they don't go anywhere with anyone they don't know, especially as they get older. She explained the tricky people thing, warning kids about people they know, not just strangers. We were halfway through this conversation when the doorbell rang. Husband went to get it while the rest of us stayed in the yard. He was gone for quite some time, and when he finally came back, it was with 2 police officers. Uh-oh. They asked if they could talk to me, and I agreed, a bit too stunned to do anything else. We went inside, and they explained that there had been a report of severe abuse going on in the house. Obviously, I was shocked and started telling them about the CPS visits and how we were cleared. But that wasn't what it was about. No, apparently I'm abusing husband.
Like, is there no checks in place to just filter out these repeated offender fake claims?
What I'm confused about, it's less like, oh, they shouldn't be coming at all, because I understand why they're coming, but like, I feel like you would have, a thing that
There's
said,
a record.
There's people calling about this place all the time, and it's false claims.
They do have that, or they do in the States. I don't know. I guess they don't have it in Australia.
They explained that his mother had called them, distraught, begging to be allowed to help him to leave. She told them husband had reached out to her to help, and I had repeatedly framed her until she was banned from seeing us. She was terrified that husband was going to end up passed away. I was so angry, but realized flying off the handle probably wouldn't help my case. As calmly as possible, I told them our story, starting from when we told them we were having triplets. They listened, took notes, and when I finally finished, I was in tears and shaking. And they're sitting there, they're like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is so crazy. Oh my God. They were really nice, explained that they had to look into reports like this, but they didn't think anything was wrong. And when they asked husband if he was being mistreated by me, he laughed and pointed out how small I am in comparison to him. They were about to leave when I asked them about the graves. I gave them a rundown of what aunt said and asked if there was anything we could do to confirm. They said that unfortunately, while it's creepy, it's not against the law. And the best thing we could do is stay away. And then the best and worst thing happened. Mother-in-law came over to our house at about 1 a.m. We have footage of her sprinkling water, we're assuming of the holy variety, over the lawn, kneeling and praying and making the sign of the cross repeatedly. We don't check footage every night, usually only if something disturbs us. So this went on for several nights before we found it. What made us check happened about 5 days after the first time she came. We were woken in the middle of the night by a loud crashing noise. I went straight to the triplets, who were sleeping soundly, while dear husband went downstairs. I also called the police because after everything, I'd rather that than a false alarm. And I was told it would be about 45 minutes before anyone could get there. 45 minutes? What's the point? At that point, don't even come. I'd be like, okay, well, I might not be alive by then, so thanks.
Yeah, they'd just be like, so we're here to assess the damage now.
Yeah, sorry. Couldn't stop the break-in.
And then we all gave each other high fives.
Husband came upstairs and said that one of the large pot plants we have on the back veranda was knocked over. It's huge, not something that could be blown over or tipped by something nudging it. We took the triplets into our room and waited for the police. They searched but couldn't find anyone. They dusted for fingerprints around a few of the windows near the pot, but again, nothing. They guessed someone was probably trying to use it to reach a higher window and it fell over. Husband had been loading the security footage and asked if they would wait and watch it with us. Mother-in-law, obviously. She came into the backyard and peered through some of the windows. She tried the back door, but it was locked. She tried the downstairs window, locked. She then tried climbing onto the plant, and it tipped over. Then she bolted. By the way, you can bolt on over to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. And there is a little bit left of the story.
Yes.
But Durant says, why isn't the mother-in-law getting arrested for violating this PO? I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Why doesn't she have multiple arrests?
I know it's not illegal to have the headstones.
What is freaking
but
weird, man?
It should be something needs to happen with that. That's so deranged.
Really freaky.
Like they should be
Really
forced to move somewhere
freaky.
else that's farther away.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like you gotta move countries now. Those are the rules. The police officers aware of the ABO against her immediately called it in. Another caller went to her house where apparently she had been all night. When she found out about the footage, she claimed she must have been sleepwalking. She was hit with a hefty fine and given a last warning. Next time, prison. Since that day, we haven't heard anything from them. I have no doubt that if they find us, it'll start again. But for now, I'm just glad for some peace and quiet. I'm sorry for taking so long between updates. And that is the end of that story. Man, oh man. What
So
a
these
freaking
people
day.
really ended up with basically no consequences.
Nothing happened. Literally nothing happened.
Because
wow.
they're relatives, I guess. Like I imagine
I
if
have
these
no
were
idea.
strangers, that it would be way more severe.
I would hope so.
But the fact that they're in-laws probably gives them an unbelievable benefit of
Yeah.
the doubt, which is absurd.
Yikes.
Yowza.
Sunny says, I have a box of grapes out right now. This is interesting, very weird behavior.
Nice.
I just really want grapes.
Wait,
Now.
a box of grapes?
Yeah, like one of those containers of grapes, like a plastic box.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like plastic container.
Sorry, I'm used to the bagged grapes.
Yeah, oh my god, I would
I'm used to
love
grape
some
bags.
green grapes, right? Cold green grapes right now.
Mm.
Not frozen. I don't want frozen. I
No,
want
of course
cold green
You
grapes.
don't freeze the green grapes. Why would you
People
freeze
freeze green grapes all the time. It's like a little snack, but I don't want those right now. I
Do
want
people
cold
do
green
that,
grapes.
or is it the reptiles? The reptilian lizard people?
Maybe both?
I'm sorry. I don't. If you like frozen
Okay, no
grapes,
los
I
dos.
don't think you're a reptilian. I'm
You
just
heard it here
messing around.
first, folks. But that is the end of that story.
And
The end of this episode.
so
If you love us, make sure to subscribe.
we love you, and see you tomorrow.